Willkommen zurück zu der ABC Matters. Wir wollten im letzten Part noch... Was wollte man eigentlich? Genau. Rausgehen aus dem Haus. Na. Schon dachte, er will mich segieren.
You've seen Fraser, Hastings. What is your feeling?
He's a big chap. Fragile isn't exactly the word that springs to mind. I talked to his landlady before seeing him. She went to bed at 11. Fraser wasn't home yet.
Bien. Megan Barnard said he is a reserved character but with a nasty temper. We will see if this is the case.
Schauen wir uns aber mal um.
This is definitely where the photo I found in the hut was taken.
Also da kann man nirgendwo was anschauen. Vielleicht weiter drüben.
No need to bother Megan Barnard anymore.
Ach so, ich Idiot. Ich wollte ja mitfahren, da war ich ja schon. Das ist der Strand.
Fraser is waiting for you at the Ginger Cat. It's in the opposite direction.
Luckily for me, you have an exceptional sense of direction, Hastings. You are a great explorer.
Ja, ins Restaurant müssen wir. Top, top, top. Seine kleinen Füßlein sind so lustig.
Hastings appears to be ill at ease. He appeared to be relatively indifferent to Mrs. Asher's murder, but a young woman's murder seems to be troubling him greatly. I fear that this case is far from being solved.
Come on, Poirot. You'll find the killer.
Certes. But how many times will he kill before I do?
Wir schaffen das. Da ist er.
How do you do, Mr. Fraser?
You Hercule Poirot. Mr. Hastings said you wanted to speak to me.
Yes. I know that it may not be the right time, but I would like to ask you a few questions.
Zuerst schauen wir uns an.
This man looks suspicious.
White Horse Whiskey. Augenringe.
Donald Fraser is in a terrible state, as if he hadn't slept all night. And he's drinking White Horse.
Leave me alone.
Nein. Geht leider nicht.
Tell me that it's a mistake. That Betty isn't dead.
Sadly, your lady friend has been murdered, Mr. Fraser.
Oh, Betty, if only you'd listened.
Did you visit Betty yesterday afternoon?
No, I haven't seen Betty for 2 days. I was at the office yesterday afternoon.
Can you prove that?
Of course. But why this question? Betty died yesterday evening, didn't she?
Yesterday, a guest came to the Ginger Cat alone and ordered a White Horse whiskey, and by the look of it, you also appear to be fond of this brand.
Yes, it's a good whiskey and not cheap. I only drink it on special occasions. Or tragic ones.
I understand. Do you know what Betty's plans were yesterday evening?
She said she was having dinner with her sister.
And you believed her?
And why not, sir? She was my fiancée.
That did not stop her from lying to you before. Betty was not a bad girl, but she did like to take advantage of her success with men.
How dare you sully her memory?
Ist das ein Inder?
I am not interested in memories of her, Mr. Fraser. I am looking for a killer, and I need you to be my closest ally. That is, unless you have something to hide.
Of course I don't.
Très bien. So, what were we saying? Where were you yesterday evening?
I looked everywhere for her, but in vain. When she said she was going to have dinner with her sister on a weekday, I thought it was strange. I tried not to think about it, but I was like a lion in a cage. I was convinced she was lying. So I went round all the restaurants in the town. When I didn't find her, I went to the next town. But nothing. I must have got home about midnight or 1 o'clock.
Did anybody see you?
I don't think so. I didn't talk to anybody. I was so furious.
Ah, I knew I'd find you here, Poirot. I thought the victim's young man was here.
Yes, is all yours, Chief Inspector. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Okay. Hatte Donald ein Motiv für den Mord an Betty? Theoretisch ja. So. Irgendwas haut da schon wieder nicht hin. Jetzt haben wir's. Hat Donald ein Alibi? Nein. Neues Ziel, zum Tatort zurückkehren. Ich brauche wieder ein schweres Rätsel.
Fraser doesn't have an alibi and he's extremely jealous.
You are very skilled at summing up.
And yet you haven't asked Japp to arrest him.
It is too soon. But I agree, without the letters announcing the crimes, Fraser would already be behind bars. Bon, I think we have enough elements. Let's reconstruct the events at the scene of the crime.
I can't imagine how the murderer wasn't seen, though. Surely she must have struggled.
Let us try and imagine the scene.
Ja, das ist schwierig.
The killer and the victim are walking on the beach. Miss Betty has a bag, a belt around her waist, and carries her shoes in her hand. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 5. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 6.
Da geht's hier rein.
Miss Betty enters the hut. She leaves without her belongings. Then she hides a code.
Fortschreiten.
They keep walking. Then she removes her belt.
The murderer moves behind her and then attacks her by surprise. The body falls, lifeless, on the sand.
Everything appears to match the crime scene, mon cher Hastings. That is exactly what happened.
Ja, so schön war es jetzt nicht.
Without the ABC, we might have suspected Mr. Asher and Mr. Fraser. But by signing his crimes, the murderer is making sure he's accused. In a way, it is very generous of him.
Generous? The murderer seduced Betty in order to lure her to the beach and kill her.
Indeed, the young woman was certainly careless, but not stupid enough to follow a stranger.
What are you planning to do, Poirot?
Return to London, mon cher Hastings.
Ja, dann düsen wir zurück nach London. Können wir nachholen, können wir nachholen.
Japp has decided to reveal details to the press. The alphabet murder is now famous.
It is not a bad idea. The more people who know, the greater our chances of finding out something of interest.
Poirot, I have a bad feeling.
Und da haben wir schon den
Poor
nächsten
Mr. Poirot, not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Rather past your prime, perhaps. Let us see if you can do any better this time. This time, it's an easy one. Churston on the 30th. Do try and do something about it. It's a bit dull having it all my own way, you know. Good hunting. Ever yours, ABC. Good hunting. Did you hear that, Poirot? The murderer seems to be taking it all as a game, a challenge. He will strike on 30th in Churston. We must warn Scotland Yard.
Hastings, today is the 30th.
No time to lose. We must prepare our suitcases for Churston.
Mon Dieu, it is already 10 o'clock. I will call Scotland Yard immediately.
Wo haben wir das Telefon stehen? Da. Ah, RT da.
Hello, Japp. We received a new letter from ABC in the 10 o'clock post.
Where and when?
In Churston. Today.
Today? I'll inform the population immediately.
I've checked the train times. Call me back.
Es schaut nämlich nicht dunkel aus draußen. Ja, nach Vormittag, 10 Uhr Vormittag.
In his haste, Hastings tore the envelope.
Aber da sehen wir eigentlich nichts mehr. Aha.
Poor Mr. Poirot. Not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Rather past your prime, perhaps? Let us see if you can do any better this time. This time it is an easy one. Churston on the 30th. Do try and do something about it. It is a bit dull having it all my own way, you know. Good hunting. Ever yours, ABC. It is not a good time. Ah, some cool air. Hastings, what you are doing is an absolute disaster. That is no way to pack suitcases.
Heavens, we must hurry. We have to get to Churston before the murder.
So, jetzt habe ich vergessen zum Entmuten. Ich habe gesagt, das Telefon hat geläutet und wir machen weiter, aber sonst habe ich eh nichts gesagt.
You're right, Hastings. It is an emergency.
At last, Poirot, you're being reasonable. Poirot, you were right. I've just consulted the ABC guide. There's no hurry. The next train doesn't leave till 11:45.
You see, there is no need to hurry. We will not be in Churston until tomorrow morning. After the murder.
But why has the murderer warned us so late? It's not what he usually does. Did he do it on purpose?
Very good question, Hastings. We should also compare the letter we have just received with the other two. Although I have very little doubt about what we will find.
Jetzt können wir endlich vergleichen. Zip, zip, zip.
We've missed the 6:45 train, but we have plenty of time to catch the night train. Hastings' photo album. He is very proud of his bag.
Na, sehr schön. Jetzt können wir wieder die Briefe vergleichen.
Right, let us compare this new letter with the second one. Let us examine this more closely. Certain characters in the two letters may have similar defects. Yes, this I is weird.
Jetzt kommt wieder this I is weird.
Right, let us compare this with the other letter. Yes, the I characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
Das A.
Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. The W is not printed properly.
Wurscht, nehmen wir einmal das
Right,
W.
let us compare this with the other letter. Of course, the W characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects.
Ich tue das überspringen, weil das haben wir schon 10.000 Mal gehört.
Yes. Right. Let us go. That's right. The A characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. My theory was right. These two letters.
Das Toilette.
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Warum kommt die Benachrichtigung des Mörders so spät? Da haben wir's.
The letter should have arrived in time. The postmark shows that it was sent 3 days ago. However, our man made a mistake in the address, which explains the delay. All the same, the post office took their time correcting the error.
Come on, Poirot. Your address is not quite as well known as that of Scotland Yard.
Aha.
Poirot, the telephone. It must be Jap.
Aber das sehen wir dann im nächsten Part. Bis dann, euer Zlabus. Tschüss, Dankeschön.